You are going through a custody case in Pennsylvania. You should be aware of some recent changes that were put in place. Under Pennsylvania law, there are 16 custodial factors, and those factors have been clarified um, in order to ensure the health and safety of a child. So, Kayden was a child that was killed by her father during his custodial time. And as a result, the legislature has now enacted laws that were signed by the governor in Pennsylvania. So the factors that have changed are what I'm going to highlight. The first factor now reads which party is more likely to ensure the health and safety of the child. No form of custody may be awarded to a parent or party who jeopardizes the health and safety of a child by unreasonably placing the child at substantial risk of severe emotional distress or bodily injury. And then under that, the factor was which party is more likely to encourage and permit frequent and continuing contact. That's a factor that's always been there. But now there's an exception, and the exception is in cases of child abuse or domestic violence, or if the child's physical or emotional well being is jeopardized by one of the parties. So now the court has to look at the reasoning why a parent might be withholding a child from another parent. And if there is physical or it is for protecting the child. And of course, these are looked at on a case by case basis because there really has to be something that's going to harm the child, not you hide under the guise that you're protecting the child when the person just might be doing something you don't like. So that's now something the court's going to be looking at. The other thing that was added was they're going to look at a history of abuse committed by a party or member of the party's household against the other party, a child in the party's household, any party who currently or formerly resided in the party's household. And then a significant history of violent, assaultative, or abusive behavior committed by a party or a member of the party's household outside of the household or against a non-family member that jeopardizes the health and safety of the child by unreasonably placing the child in substantial risk of severe emotional distress or bodily injury. So again, the focus is on this domestic violence. They're also going to look at the present and past parental and caretaker duties performed by each party on behalf of the child. I'm not going to go into every single detail of the changes, but like I said, the focus is really going to be on another section that was modified includes a parent's reasonable concern for a child's safety and welfare. And the efforts to educate, support, and protect the child shall not be considered attempts to turn the child against the other parent. Whereas in the past, you're looking at parental alienation whenever you're withholding. So we're really looking and putting a stress on that domestic violence and looking at it. There were some other provisions that were added. And again, you can look at the statute on the 16 factors. I'm not going in detail. There's too many changes to really go into detail in a short video. But another thing that I noted that has come up in cases that I've had in the past that wasn't a factor, but is now a factor, is when you have a parent that has committed abuse against an animal or where they're engaging in, cockfighting or dog fighting or anything of that nature, and they've been charged with a crime in that regard, it's now a factor that the court's going to consider in custody of a child. So in the past, those things were not looked at by the court, but it's indicative of a behavior pattern of someone. And the court really needs to take a look at that and weigh that and now support it by the statute. So I encourage everybody, if you're going through a custody case at this time, that you familiarize yourself with the changes in the statute because they have been modified. And most, like I said, is really to protect children in the event of violence or domestic violence. But there are some nuances that you should pay attention to. And this was a result of Kayden, like I said, who was someone in the county, actually, where I practice, who unfortunately was with her dad when her dad killed her, and her mother litigated to make sure that other children like her are protected.